Over the past few months, over the past year or so, you've had a lot of naysayers saying that, black people most likely aren't going to get reparations. And when I talk about black people, I'm talking about black Americans and a host of other things to say that it's most likely not going to happen or it's a pipe dream and this, that, and the third. I said, don't rule it out completely just yet. So I came across this article right here, and I want to make sure y'all saw the entire structure of it, including the headline. And it's coming from moguldom.com, and it was posted August 15th, 2022. It says Governor Newsom signs law for black Americans to be identified as a separate group to help support lineage-based reparation claims. Now, I have my issues with Gavin Newsom mainly because of some of the sneaky stuff that he did during the height of the pandemic. And those of you who live in California know exactly what I'm talking about. Those of you who live outside of California, such as myself, know what I'm talking about as well. But I will give credit where credit is due. Gavin Newsom, I think out of all of the people who are in politics, and I mean from every aspect of politics, whether low on the lower or the end of the totem pole to the high end of it, he is probably one of the only ones that's actually trying to make an effort to work with black Americans to help get towards or get one step closer to reparations. Now, he's only the governor of California, which means what he's signing into law is only going to benefit those in California, but that's okay. Because I always like to talk about domino effects. What happens in one place will most likely and possibly trickle down to other places. But then you also have to take this into consideration. The black American population in the state of California is not that large compared to the Mexican population, which is extremely high. So it probably would not be that hard for him to actually do something like this. But on the same token, even if you scattered out in other places where there isn't a major black population, even sometimes lower than that in California, they still don't want to do anything. So it's really a personal belief type of thing at the end of the day. But like I said, I'm giving kudos where I can give it. And Gavin Newsom is actually pushing an effort to, have something in the works for black Americans specifically. And notice I said specifically. It doesn't say people of color or minorities. It says specifically for black Americans. And this is actually the step in the right direction because he's making it specifically for black Americans because that actually helps with the lineage base. Because you can't just simply say, oh, you're black, because then it's like, okay, now we got to break it down. Where in the spectrum of the diaspora do you fall? Because that's too vague. And I kind of knew it was going in the right direction even before this when they were saying that they were going to do it lineage based of a couple months back. I said, okay, now that's what we want to hear. So I think the ball is, starting to roll, but so far it's only in the state of California. All these other states need to hurry up and follow suit. You get on the federal level, then they'll have no choice. But I'm going to go ahead and read the article itself and see what else it's talking about. California reparations advocates recently achieved another goal when Governor Gavin Newsom signed a bill that directs state agencies to desegregate or separate data collection categories for black and African American subgroups. Senate Bill 189, or SB 189, was authored by the Coalition for a Just and Equitable California and championed by California State Assembly member Chris Holden, according to a press release from CJEC. For the first time in California in American history, a specific category of data collection will be required for African Americans who are descendants of persons enslaved in the United States and living in California, starting with the state's 2.5 million employees. The release states. Now, it's crazy because you have some people that say, oh, we don't know how it's going to get this far. It's not going to get this far. It's going to be here and it's going to be gone. I kept telling people the more and more reparations, tangibles, FBA, whatever, or sometimes all three, were trending on Twitter, people are noticing. I've said this over the last month or so. It's been trending a lot on social media, especially on Twitter. If you look at that trending topic list, as a matter of fact, today, as I'm recording this video, I saw reparations trending. I wonder if it's coming from this bit of news. And keep in mind, as of me recording this today, This moguldom.com is the only website, and I do mean the absolute only website that's reported this. No other site has talked about this except this site that I'm reading from right now. Not Yahoo, not CNN, not MSNBC, or any of these other outlets. You know Fox News ain't going to talk about it. If they do, they're going to have a spin. But shoot, not even quote unquote News One or the Grio or the Roots. I'll throw those in there since they want to claim that they're a black media. Listen, a joke. This is the only one that talked about it. And probably be the only one that will. I know, because I looked for like a good, after about 5 minutes of searching, I gave up the search and just stuck with this one because it was the only one that dared even talked about it. Because it's like they don't really want people to know. And if you want to know how you get the vote, you do what Gavin Newsom is doing right now. So if Gavin Newsom gets back in office in November and he gets reelected to the governor's position, this, I have a feeling, would be a part of the reason as to why. Because we said, black people have said, we don't really subscribe to either side. We subscribe to the side that's going to look out for our interests. And right now, that's what Gavin Newsom is actually doing. Hate him or love him. You got to put emotions to the side when business comes into play. And right now, business has to be handled. We are in, like I said, we are playing the long game right now. We're playing catch up. We got a ways to go, but I think we're headed in the right direction. For the first time since Reconstruction, the political status of American freedmen is being recognized by the state of California. Now, you heard that. Now, some of y'all, if y'all on Twitter, have heard that terminology, American freedmen, which is another term for black Americans, FBA. You know, it's a couple of those titles, but they all fall into the same category. They said for the first time in history, in American history, that's going to be recognized as a group, as a category. So don't be surprised if it starts to pop up on job applications. And I'm talking more specifically for my California subscribers or, you know, my California residents. Because like they say, like, you know, at one point when it was on your job application, you black or African American, and they described it, it was still very vague. But now it's getting to the point of now we're being very specific and we're pinpointing it all the way down to its most simplest point. The bill will separate black and African Americans into the following subgroups and beyond. The first one says African Americans who are descendants of persons who were enslaved in the United States. The second one says blacks who are not descendants of persons who were enslaved in the United States, including but not limited to African blacks, Caribbean blacks, and other blacks. 3 is unknown or choose not to identify. The legislation goal is to help black Californians determine their lineage to help support eligibility for reparations claims since the state's historic task force voted to use lineage-based criteria in March. It is a welcome change for advocates who fought tirelessly for over 2 years for black Americans descended from people enslaved in the United States to be recognized as a separate group. It passed, and I'm so glad it did. And it's so interesting hearing commentary from non-black people in particular about the disaggregation. Kansa Jones Muhammad, who was also known as Friday Jones, told Moguldom. Jones Muhammad said people against data disaggregation within the black community seem okay when it occurs in other communities. She said it would only help prove the unique claim black descendants of those enslaved in America have for compensation due to the harms imposed on them. When you look at the black descendant community, almost like the AAPI or the Asian American and Pacific Islander community before it was disaggregated, I think you're going to find a similar reality with the disaggregation of the African American community, Jones Muhammad continued. Passing SB 189, specifically Section 14, which we wrote, feels like a generational step forward for our people, for the state, and for the country, says CJEC lead organizer Chris Lodgson. This is a major step forward with much more to come. We are a specific group of people and we need and deserve to be recognized as such for reparations and for everything else we are owed. I'm thankful for CJEC, our community and supporters, Assembly member Chris Holden, and Governor Newsom for making this happen. CJEC also credited renowned reparations scholar William Sandy Darity for helping inform their research when writing the legislation. In April, CJEC Lachin explained to attendees at a community meeting that even if they successfully pass any bills establishing lineage criteria, there will still be much work to do. We have a double fight ahead of us, Lachin told the group. That is why it's important you have a part of the process of actually creating it, because I'm going to tell you, when we actually have language with land in it, with financial compensation in it, with rehabilitation in it, with freedom, with free schooling in it, with no taxes in it, with free healthcare in it, with all the things that we know we're owed, that becomes the second part of our fight. The change in how state agencies collect data from Black Californians will fully take effect by 2024. That's going to be very interesting. Now that I can't wait to see how they're going to do that. Now I know that one of the things, or two of them, is one, you had to identify yourself as Black on like any type of documentation, whether it's a job application or anything like that, that acts your race on it for the last 10 years. That's one of them. The other one is to have your lineage traced back at least to 1870 here in America, as in your ancestry came from slavery, from chattel slavery. I have two pieces of documentation. I have two pictures, and I know some of you have seen it. I posted it up on my community page. Those of you who follow me on Instagram, I posted it up on there too, as well as on Twitter. That was a picture of my great grandmother. I think it was my great great grandmother and my great grandfather, both on my mother's side. So that's my two pieces of documentation right there. But if there's anything else that needs to be had, we gather it all up. And this is actually going to force a lot of Black people to research the lineage of their history, because our history was completely destroyed, like crumbled up and formed into a new one. A lot of us don't even know what our lineage begins. But if this is what is going to force them to have to do it, then it is what it is. So, like I said, I think this might be a step in the right direction. We're definitely going to have to keep a real close eye on this one. I'm going to need the help of my California subscribers to assist with that, because y'all are a whole lot closer to Gavin Newsom than I am. But yeah, we shall see exactly how much further this goes. But with that being said, I'm gonna go ahead and end the video on that note. Y'all let me know what you think down in the comments. Like and share the content on your various social media platforms. If you have not done so already and you are new to the channel, make sure to go ahead and hit the subscribe button and hit that bell to be notified whenever I upload a new video or go live. Also, be sure to have your notifications set to all on your mobile devices as well. All the links will be down in the description, and I will talk to you in the next one.